Welcome everyone back to Angela's Craft Room. Today I've got a new Stampin' Up product for you, the new blends. Now these are an alcohol marker and I just wanted to introduce them to you, and I just think they're going to be a very popular product and they are very easy to use. As I've shown you in a previous video, I showed you, it was the first time I used them, was I coloured the lady in on this card, and it was just so easy and quick to colour her. So in future videos I'm going to be using these quite a lot just to show you how easy and quick they are to use. So when you buy them, you can buy the full set as I did. If you do that, you get 13 colours. What you can do, you can buy them in their colours, so you get the two. So you get, this is pink pirouette, so you get the darker one and the lighter one. So when I'm colouring, I usually lay down my light colour and then I go into the shadow areas and add the darker colour and then come back out and blend it out with the lighter colour. But as I said, in future videos I'll be showing you how they actually work. So that's, I'll just run through the colours. So that's pink pirouette, and then we've got daffodil delight, and then we've got rich raspberry, old olive, I think this one's pumpkin pie, then we've got cherry cobbler, Bermuda Bay, this one's Night of Navy, then we've got Pool Party, Calypso Coral, then we've got Smoky Slate, I'll just move them around, so we've got Smoky Slate, then we've got Crumb Cake, and then you get two that are meant to be used for skin and hair. So you get an ivory, and then you also get the bronze. You get those if you get the full set at once. But if you just want to build up your set, you can just buy them in the colours. And another really good thing about them is when your ink's running out, and I really think these are going to last for ages before you have to replace them, but you don't have to buy the two in that colour. Say the light one ran out, you only have to buy that one marker, so you can buy them individually as you need them, as they're not refillable, which doesn't bother me. I have tried using Copics twice now over about a 3-year period, and I just one of those people that just can't get the knack of Copics. But they're an alcohol marker, exactly the same as Copics is an alcohol marker, but I just find these are just so easy to use. And the fact that, you know, they've already matched up the light and the dark for you, you don't have to think what ones to use as you do with Copics in the colour family blends, whereas Stampin' Up has done all the hard work for us. And the other thing that you will get is a colour lifter. Now it doesn't erase colour. Say you colour accidentally outside a line, your colour goes outside of the line, this little gem will push the colour back. It's not actually erasing it, it can push the colour back. And there's all other sorts of techniques you can use this to take some of the colour away, which we can cover over the coming weeks. But mainly what I use this is if I go out of the lines a little bit, then I would use this to push the colour back. So I can show you what I mean with that as we go on. So also the other thing I wanted to show you, I'll pick the cherry cobbler. Now this is the light cherry cobbler. Now you have two ends, okay? So this is the nib end, so it's not a, see, you can see that it's a more pointed nib end, so you can get into those real little hard places to colour. You could most probably even write with this one if you had a steady hand. Okay, so that's that end, and then this end is like, I think it's like a paintbrush end. It's the end that I use mostly, and when I'm colouring I use like brush strokes. You don't colour like in circles like this, you use brush strokes, but I can cover that as well in the next video. I might just show you how I use them, as like how I do the brush strokes, whereas you don't colour them. They're not like a pencil where you do little circles, you know, but they are very easy to use, very easy indeed. So the other thing is, because they're an alcohol marker, they must be stored as they are pictured here, flat like that. So they're not to be stored standing up, because if you store them standing up, the alcohol ink will run to one end. Okay, so you run the risk of drying out the other end. So you always store them flat, like you can see I've got them. I've got a storage where they all sit in, and they're all laid flat like that. Okay. The other thing is that one big tip is, because it's an alcohol marker, you must always make sure you close it correctly. So you'll hear that snap. You must always make sure your markers are closed properly. So these are quite tight to open, but that's good, because when I close it, it's snapping shut, and it's keeping that alcohol enclosed in the stamping blends. So that is a really big tip. Just make sure that you do close them, and don't leave them open for long periods of time. Okay, so that's about all I wanted to let you know about with the stamping blends today. And in the next video, what we'll do is I'll just show you how I colour. I won't do an actual card. I will just do like a colouring, so you can see how they're actually coloured. Okay, but I can't recommend them highly enough. And you know, this is going to be your magic tool, and you're going to, I've purchased a couple of extra ones of these, because after using the Copics, I know that in the Copics it's called a zero blender. In stamping blends it's called a colour lifter. So it's just a matter of pushing that colour back in behind the lines if we've coloured accidentally outside the lines. So it's a good idea to buy a couple of these, because if one dries out, you want one on hand straight away. But this is the one thing that you would use most of, because you're going to use it with all your colouring. Like, you may only use a couple of the colours on an image, but you're going to use that colour lifter all the time. So that's just one little hint. So I hope that shows you a bit about the stamping blends. I can't recommend them highly enough, and I'm not a Stampin' Up demonstrator any longer, so I'm not getting anything out of by endorsing them or anything like that. But it is my only colouring tool I use now, except for I do use the Stampin' Up stamp pads for my watercolouring sometimes, but I think now I've got these, I'm going to be using these an awful lot. I also travel with my husband sometimes in our motorhome, and these are just going to be absolutely ideal to travel with. So I hope that helps you make a decision whether you'd like to purchase them or not from your friendly demonstrator. I'm in Australia. I do buy my products under a demonstrator who's a friend, and so if you're in Australia and you're looking for a demonstrator, I can point you in the right direction. She's very good and she will look after you very well, I can assure you of that. So until next time, happy crafting.